Oh, Mr. Sears, you're not yet on my list. So I'm going to need your P number real quick. So this is in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Shane Leroy Raymer. Leroy or Leroy?
Leroy.
Yep. Okay. I like Leroy. File number 23-21665FH. I have Brenda Underwood, P41009, appearing on behalf of the defendant. And I have Dan Gumto, but state your full name and your P number, please.
Your Honor, Nicholas Stephen, we have people. Nicholas Andrew Sears. I am appearing under Michigan Court Rule 8.120, I believe, which is the observation while waiting for my bar results.
Okay, very good. All right, you had your hand up?
Yes, I fired her due to misrepresentation.
When did you fire her?
Over 2 weeks ago.
Was that in front of me?
No, that was in her office but the reason I fired her.
Well, do you have another attorney?
I will represent myself.
You're going to represent yourself.
Yes.
You know, there's a very famous quote about representing yourself. Do you understand that?
Yes.
That, do you have a law degree?
All right, folks, buckle up. This courtroom session kicks off with intensity. Shane Rummer is facing serious charges, but before anything can happen, he pulls a wild move. He fires his attorney on the spot, claiming misrepresentation and a corrupt system. When the judge asks if he has any legal training or education, his response, "I don't need that." The tension in the room is immediate, his arrogance is palpable, and everyone knows this won't go smoothly. It's a rare moment where courtroom rules clash with defiance. Shane is just getting started. Every eye in the room is on him, stunned but not surprised. He's walking a tightrope and has just set it on fire. This isn't legal strategy, it's pure chaos. From the first minute, it's clear this isn't about justice. It's about pride, and Shane is willing to bring the whole system down with him.
Do you have a college degree?
I don't need a law degree.
Did you graduate from high school?
I don't need that either.
You don't need that to represent yourself? Okay. Do you have access to? Okay. So,
I have evidence that shows that the description did not match. And
well, I'm not going to get into that yet. So you're asking me today to remove Miss Underwood as your attorney,
if
and you want to represent yourself.
if I
Do you understand that even when I have court cases, I hire an attorney to represent me?
Well, I can't trust anybody in this system in this area because they all seem to be working together. This case should have been resolved a long time ago during the appeal the first time. She should have objected when the claim was made that I matched that description 100%.
Okay, so Mr. Raymer, part of what you're saying shows to me that you don't quite understand how the court procedures work, okay? So your attorney has an obligation to ethically represent you. And so before I would have clients come to me and say, I want you to file this and I want you to file that. And I would say, there's no basis for that. And I don't file frivolous motions, or I would say to them, they have probable cause or whatever. So if you want to represent yourself, you can do that at your own risk. You have the right to represent yourself. But what I will tell you is that Miss Underwood is the bane of most prosecutors' existence because she's a little pit bull and she doesn't put up with a lot of guff from them, and she's a tough defense attorney. So you may not like what she says, but I feel like she's always honest. So that being said,
the judge steps in, calm yet firm, trying to explain the court's procedures, but Shane isn't having it. He's convinced the entire legal system is out to get him and insists on representing himself because he trusts no one. The judge warns him that his attorney is tough, respected, and known for being relentless, but Shane refuses to listen. Then, the bombshell, he thought today was his trial, but he missed the pre-trial. That's led to the judge canceling his jury trial and issuing a bench warrant for his arrest. His entire defense is now crumbling, and the tension in the courtroom is rising. What started as defiance is now disaster. The clock is ticking, and Shane is already behind. The system didn't fail him. He failed to show up. That mistake is costing him everything. He's trying to fight a war he doesn't understand, and now the judge holds all the cards. The walls are closing in fast.
Want to proceed and represent yourself, you can. But you understand you're going to have to file written motions. You're going to have to follow the court rules.
This is the trial, right?
No, it's a pre-trial.
How is this not the trial? I was told this is gonna be the trial.
This
I'm
is a,
supposed to be sitting here with a jury today.
no, you're not.
Yes,
You're,
you're on.
Mr. Raymer, I scheduled jury trials and I haven't scheduled you a jury trial.
I was.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you're the one that didn't show for the pre-trial. That's why. Is that why?
Your Honor, if I could speak
Yes.
for a second, I think the first thing we need to do.
I'm
is
sorry.
address the bench warrant.
Yes. So, Mr. Raymer, you
Representative Mr.
failed,
Raymer.
yeah, he failed to appear for the pre-trial conference.
That's correct.
All right.
I-
So everybody stop talking for a minute. So, Ms. Underwood, thank you for reminding me of that. Mr. Raymer, you had a final pretrial conference on December 11th, and we gave you a notice of hearing, and you failed to appear for that pretrial. And because you failed to appear for that pretrial, I canceled the jury trial because it cost me a lot of money to have a jury here. And so if you're not here for the final pretrial, I'm not going to trial until I get you here. So I actually issued a bench warrant for your arrest for failure to appear for the pretrial. Do you understand that? So Ms. Underwood's now asking for me to set aside that bench warrant. Is that what you said?
Thank you, Your Honor. He did demonstrate to the court that he can show up by showing up this morning.
Okay. So Mr. Raymer, so Ms. Underwood's asking me for me to set aside the bench warrant for your failure to appear on December 11th. Do you understand that? Speak.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and Mr. Sears, any objection to me setting aside the bench warrant since he has it today?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Raymer, I will quash that bench warrant, and I'm sorry, I didn't look back to see that this was the original trial date. So that's my procedure. If people don't show up for a pretrial, I set the jury trial as the pretrial, okay? Do you understand that? So that's why
Yes or
there's
no,
no jury.
Yes or no?
I did answer her.
So we're recording, so we have to hear you, so you have to speak up really loud, okay?
I said yes, ma'am.
Louder.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Mr. Raymer,
Here comes the sting. The judge makes it clear. Shane's failure to show up for his mandatory pretrial has cost the court both time and money, and that's why his jury trial never happened. Shane is now learning the hard way how the system works. Still, the judge offers him a break, quashing the bench warrant because he showed up today. But here's the reality check. If he truly fires his lawyer, he won't get another public defender. It's either going it alone or hiring someone on his own. Shane doubles down, determined to fight solo. The courtroom shifts from frustration to disbelief. This isn't just a trial, it's self-destruction in slow motion. It's not courage, it's collapse. One stubborn choice at a time, Shane is burning his bridges, thinking he's taking control, but he's heading straight into a legal storm with no idea how to handle it. You can feel it. The crash is coming, and Shane's flooring the gas pedals straight into the fire.
good, and Mr. Sears, this is a date and time set for pretrial. Mr. Raymer, I have your attorneys did file all the paperwork. Ms. Underwood, do you want to speak to Mr. Raymer for a moment?
Your Honor, I'm not sure that would do any good.
Okay. So,
If Mr. Raymer would like to speak to me, I am more than happy to speak to Mr. Raymer at this point.
So I'm gonna quash the bench warrant. Mr. Raymer, if you want to sit down and talk with Ms. Underwood and see if you can meet a common ground, I would highly recommend that. You know, if you want to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes and talk to her, you can do that.
She's not been representing me appropriately.
All right, so do you understand you don't get another public defender?
Well, I fired her and I talked to this man. Are you Mr. Glusher?
No, that's Mr. Rivers.
Who was it that was in the office with us?
That was
That
me.
was Mr. Malero.
Okay, Mr. Malero and her why was he in the office when?
'Cause he's-
in the,
So, Mr. Raymer, if you are firing Miss Underwood, or I can grant that, but I don't have the ability to appoint another public defender to represent you.
no,
They are a
I-
separate entity.
If I can't get somebody to represent me that's doing the job appropriately, then I will represent myself. Because I can prove that I was not that person that they're claiming.
That's what a jury trial's for.
Yeah, and when it comes to the jury trial, then I will take care of it there. But I don't need somebody that's not gonna represent me appropriately.
Okay, well, I really doubt that she isn't appropriately representing you, but, so Mr. Glazier and Mr. Malaro, he's asking to fire Miss Underwood, so,
If I may,
yes,
Your Honor, I vetted, Mr. Raymer's claims about Ms. Underwood's representation. My understanding, she conducted a preliminary examination. She also filed a motion to dismiss, I believe, that was heard and ruled on by this court. I've not determined that she's done anything that did not require.
Now things get real. The judge questioned Shane's decision again, but he insists he can prove his innocence alone. The public defender's office responds that they've reviewed everything. Motions filed, exams held, nothing mishandled. But Shane doesn't like what he's hearing. The judge lays down the truth. His attorney fought hard on his behalf, but Shane refuses to see it. The judge officially relieves her of duty, leaving Shane to fend for himself. What comes next? Filing motions, preparing jury questions. Shane has no idea how to do any of it. The train wreck is starting. The courtroom is stunned. Shane has just tossed his best chance, thinking he's making a statement, but what he's really done is set himself up for a legal nightmare with no way out. The safety net is gone and the freefall begins. This is what happens when pride takes the wheel.
Request to appoint a new attorney. For one of the reasons was that a trial date was imminent and it would be almost impossible for any attorney to get up to speed. Ms. Underwood is clearly ready to go to trial in this case. I think, as the court, I think, is aware, Mr. Raymer just doesn't like what he hears. So that is the reason I denied his request to have another attorney appointed in this manner, because Ms. Underwood's doing everything she can do on his behalf.
so Mr. Raymer, I guess I would ask, she held a preliminary exam, which is what you do to dispute the charges, and the judge ruled, whoever heard this, that there was probable cause and bound you over, right? Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then she filed a motion to dismiss, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I denied that.
Yeah, because you was.
What else is she supposed to do?
You was given false information. All she had to do is object and let it be known that I did not match the description of the person.
That's for a jury to decide.
No, that's for the.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you were trying to explain the law to me. So if you do not want her as your attorney, I will remove her
Yes, I
as your
do not
attorney.
want her as my attorney.
All right, so Ms. Underwood, you are relieved of your duties. So Mr. Raymer, you can either hire an attorney or proceed as you are. So I will get another jury trial date. Mr. Raymer, you will need to file with the court, jury instructions and voir dire questions. And those are gonna need to be filed by a certain date.
And how do I go about doing that?
I can't tell you because I can't give legal advice. That's why you have an attorney. So you're gonna have to figure that out on your own.
Okay, well.
I can't give you legal advice as a judge.
That's all right.
That's what Miss Underwood was for.
But she wasn't doing her job.
She did do her job.
No, she
But-
failed.
I'm not gonna argue with Mr. Raymer. So Miss Adams, I'm looking for a trial date.
Deadlines, legal filings, court rules. Shane is now facing the harsh reality of self-representation. The judge tells him he must file jury instructions, motions, evidence lists, all by set dates. And no, she can't help him. He asks about the plea deal on the table, 2 misdemeanors instead of multiple felonies, including assaulting a police officer. But Shane ignores it. He's laser-focused on proving the system wrong, but he's walking blind into complex legal terrain. No plan, no support, and no clue. The risk? Prison time. And he's walking straight into it. He's not defending himself. He's gambling with his freedom. The judge has given him a lifeline, but he's tossing it back. Every misstep brings him closer to a prison cell. The clock's ticking, and Shane's chasing shadows. The law doesn't stop for him. It's marching forward without him.
Provide a copy to the prosecutor's office of your voir dire questions and jury instructions and a copy to the court on the 3rd floor of the clerk's office.
And that can be wrote out on a blank piece of paper.
No, they must be provided in full and filled out.
Okay, where would I go to get those forms?
You can do research on the computer. I mean, this is why, Mr. Raymer, when you're dealing with a felony and you're facing trial,
Yes.
It's important to have an attorney, and it
Yes,
doesn't
one
sound,
that's doing their job, yes, I understand that.
well, you haven't presented anything to me that says she hasn't done what she's supposed to do so far. So, Mr. Reamer, you know, there's no legal services available for indigent defendants other than the public defender's office, and, you know, you could hire an attorney, but these things are required. If you don't file them, then you don't get to add them the day of trial. Do you understand that?
What's that, the evidence? I don't get to add any evidence during day trial?
Well, you must submit it as exhibits and witness lists. You got to exchange those with the.
All the body cam would be considered already submitted, correct?
So you have to provide witness lists and a list of exhibits to the prosecutor's office, to my office, and then you must provide copies of that to them.
And where do I find your office at?
Third floor clerk's office.
Okay.
Okay, but then you have to provide a copy to the prosecutor too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll probably head over there pretty quick.
But by law, Mr. Reamer, I can't give legal advice because I'm a judge.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, Ms. Adams, could I please get a copy of this from Mr. Reamer? And I'm gonna put little asterisks. Do you want Mr. Reamer's file? Are you sure you do not want to proceed with counsel?
I would prefer to have counsel, but I don't want her representing me.
Okay, well, that's your choice, but your other option is to hire someone. Thank you. All right,
The final warnings come hard. The judge sets the trial date for April 22nd, outlining everything Shane must do: form submissions, exhibit lists, discovery exchanges. She reminds him, once again, no attorney, no legal guidance. Shane insists he doesn't need his fired attorney, though he admits he'd prefer representation. But it's too late. He's made his choice. The judge repeats, if you miss a deadline, you lose your rights at trial. It's all collapsing in real time. A man so determined to fight the system has trapped himself within it. A bold gamble, but it's about to explode. Under pressure and on record, this isn't a fight for justice. It's a masterclass in self-sabotage. Shane's courtroom war is already lost, and he's the one who set the trap. Now he has to walk into it. This isn't just law. It's a life unraveling piece by piece, and every second counts.